Good evening, everybody. Change your feel here. Really sorry that I haven't made a video in so long. I've been pretty busy of late, but it doesn't really, it's not an excuse for not making a video in 3 weeks. I do want to say though that as bad of a year 2020 has been, it feels to me that 2020 has just been going by so fast. I mean, maybe it's just staying at home so much, but to me, it feels like 2020 has been the fastest year, which is a good thing, but it's just really weird. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of news to cover. I may miss stuff. I tried my best to get all the information over the past 3 weeks, but again, I want to apologize for not making a video sooner. Let's get into it. So, starting off with the Million MAGA March that happened in DC, somebody got stabbed as violence erupted between Trump supporters and counter protesters. The guy was a man in his 20s and was stabbed in the back. He entered the hospital with serious injuries, but so I hope that he'll be able to fully recover from that. China and 14 Asia-Pacific nations signed the world's biggest trade pact. Pennsylvania Supreme Court rejected the Trump campaign's claim Philadelphia violated state election law. In a way, it handled ballot observers at a city ballot counting center. And Trump has done so many lawsuits, but I don't know how they're going to be able to keep them up because they're not even able to make it. They're literally getting laughed out of court because they have no evidence. They're just trying to put the case in there and hope that anything sticks, but they're not getting any evidence, and you can't win a case without evidence. Thankfully. So Biden sent out a large lobbying campaign to crack down on GOP resistance to his transition. Many Senate Republicans are too afraid to acknowledge the election outcome, even though that was made almost a month ago. Some Republicans, like Lindsey Graham, patted Vice President Kamala Harris on the Senate floor, doing it discreetly. But it's like, come on, are you babies or are you freaking adults? You're gonna act like a baby and try to hide things. It's unbelievable that they pat her on the back in the Senate floor, but they can't publicly say the election's over. It's literally our democracy. Especially people like Lindsey Graham, who literally got reelected from the 2020 election. I mean, if the Republicans want to play it that way, then all the seats the Democrats lost will just say, oh no, the election's not over yet. I guess we got to do another election. I mean, it's so stupid. Obviously, the election's already happened. The election for the presidency is over. The election for most of the seats are over. The only reason that it's still continuing in Georgia is because no candidate got above 50%, so they're doing what's called a runoff election. But with the presidential election, they counted all the vote. They even did recounts, and it didn't matter. The election's results stayed the same. Biden won by a clear majority in the popular vote and the electoral college. It's unbelievable. Mitt Romney delivered a harsh rebuke to the president's actions of trying to force the election to go in his favor. Thankfully, Senator Pat Toomey, Republican from Pennsylvania, congratulated Joe Biden and Kamala Harris about 2 weeks ago on their election victory after Trump, quote-unquote, exhausted all legal options in Pennsylvania, and after a longtime conservative Judge Braun threw out Trump's argument in Pennsylvania to discount 7 million votes. So there was no evidence. The head of Trump's cybersecurity confirmed the election was performed without any wrongdoing, and that guy was Chris Krebs, and Trump fired him because he said the election went by smoothly. He was a Department of Homeland Security official. Attorney General Bill Barr said the Justice Department found no evidence of voter fraud that would change the election outcome. So they just repeated what the Department of Homeland Security already said. Christopher Miller announced plans to reduce the U.S. troop levels in Iraq and Afghanistan. Biden came out with a lot of his nominations over the past couple of weeks. Some of those included Linda Thomas Greenfield as his nominee for the ambassador to the United Nations, Jake Sullivan as a national security advisor, Jen Psaki as White House press secretary, an all-female senior communications team, and it seems like with all of his picks, they're first of all diverse, and they're also with people that have experience and are qualified. So I didn't look in very much detail about every one of his picks, but for the most part, from the general analysis I've seen, it's people that a good amount of them are people that worked in the Obama administration, so they have experience from there, and they have experience in their fields, so it's really good to see. Michigan certified the results along with other states, which certified Joe Biden's election. The head of General Services Administration, a stupid lady on the Trump administration called Emily Murphy, who was stopping the presidential transition process to fully take place because the election was certified. So there's really no legal arguments you can bring forth once the election has been certified by enough states. So that stupid lady had to basically allow the transition to go through, and it's crazy that it was stopped at all. The House is calling for Murphy to testify, Democrats called on Murphy to testify at the House for blocking Joe Biden's transition. GOP Senator, Republican from Iowa, Grassley, tested positive for COVID about 2 weeks ago. He's 87 years old, so thankfully it seems like he's okay. I didn't hear any news about him, but it's very dangerous for an old senator to get COVID. On November 17th, the U.S. reported more than 157,000 cases and 1,600 deaths. If you thought those numbers were bad, it's not even close to what they are now. I mean, they're kind of close, but especially in the deaths, it's a big difference. But remember that November 17th, it was 157,000 cases, 1,600 deaths that day. Excuse me, I'm pretty tired. The most people, I hope everyone did have a good Thanksgiving. Most people were in need of food this Thanksgiving since the Great Depression. The COVID numbers, I was looking like right after Thanksgiving. It was like, around the weekend, and the numbers were low, and I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense because the data showed that a lot of people are traveling in the U.S., and I'm sure around the world, but I was mostly looking at the U.S., and there were so many people traveling and gathering for Thanksgiving. I gathered with some of my family, and I was worried that it was too many people, but I tried to take some precaution. I didn't take too much, but yeah, anything's a risk, so you got to think about these things. And yeah, so like I was saying, the weekend, like after Thanksgiving, the numbers were kind of low, but right after that, it's just been really, really bad numbers. And to give you an example, or a couple of examples of how bad the numbers have been, so today is December 5th, so I said the numbers from 11/17. That was a while back, but it's getting colder. After Thanksgiving, I'm sure is partially why these numbers are exploding. People getting tested after the holidays, and also another thing you need to remember is a lot of students are coming back from college around now, or have from Thanksgiving, either from Thanksgiving week or this week. So that's a big deal. Um, let's see. To give you the COVID numbers of the past couple of days with Worldometers. That is definitely something you should look at. It seems to have the most accurate results from what I've seen. So 2 days ago, the numbers may blow your mind. Alright, so the highest case numbers besides America 2 days ago was India. Brazil. Brazil posted 2 days ago 50,000 cases. You're like, 50,000 cases? That's a lot of cases, right? Nowhere near America's. but they were the second most in terms of cases yesterday. Or sorry, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, Brazil posted 50,000 cases, 776 deaths. Okay? 2 days ago, America reported 220,000 cases in one day. 220,000 cases. The second highest country, 50,000. America, 220,000. And I said Brazil, which was one of the highest death tolls that day, 776 deaths. America reported 2,900 deaths 2 days ago. Okay. I don't want to give you the numbers for today because they're still counting those, but also yesterday, Brazil reported they seem to be, one of the highest cases in the country. And Brazil, so in terms of total cases, Brazil is third in the world with 6 million. India is second with, or sorry, those numbers aren't, okay, yeah. Brazil is third most case number in the world with 6 million. India is second most with 9 million. And America is nearing 15 million in terms of total cases reported in the country, over the whole span of COVID. So, like I was saying, yesterday, Brazil reported 47,000 cases and 670 deaths. America yesterday reported 237,000 cases of COVID, which is absolutely bonkers. And it's all I blame the president for most of it. 237,000. There's no country in the world that's even close to those numbers. And 2,700 deaths yesterday. The reason why it pisses me off so much is because scientists for months were saying, hey, the second wave is going to be coming. It's going to be bad in America unless we do stuff to prepare for this virus, this second wave of the virus. They've been saying that for months. Not only Dr. Fauci, but the scientists and experts. They were saying that for so long. I probably reported that months ago. I definitely was reading about that months ago. They were saying the winter comes, it's going to be a dark winter, there's going to be a lot of deaths, a lot more infections. So the president had a lot of, like in the beginning, when the virus was coming to America, he had a lot of time and he failed. Well, we were starting to slow down from the first wave, and, the president had a pretty decent amount of time to start, you could gather up materials, try and hire more doctors, pay doctors more, give them more benefits because they deserve it, obviously. Ramp up testing. I was, just see some sort of action from the president of the United States saying, okay, we see that this second wave is coming. We're going to try and do at least something to prepare for it. He barely even mentions coronavirus. Barely even mentions it because he's still talking about how he won the election, which he did not, but he keeps trying to portray that he did. And in doing so and focusing on an election he already lost, we are losing thousands of people a day to COVID. Thousands of people a day. Not 1,000, 2,000 people a day. Probably going to be 3,000 soon. A day. And this president says nothing. He learned nothing from getting COVID, from all that time America's had COVID. He learned nothing. And now thousands of people are dying in America every day. It's really hard to talk about, not only being an American, but just seeing like every other country in the world is doing so much better than America. Our death total, by the way, is at 287,000. It wasn't that long ago that I said 100,000 people died from COVID in America, or 200,000 people. It wasn't that long ago that I reported that, and now we're at 287,000 as of today. Deaths in America. those are some tough numbers. Now, you know, you say tough times, we all are dealing with this differently. But when we're talking about as Americans, and we're talking about how is COVID hitting America, you hear about those numbers and you say, we are not doing well. Not enough is being done. It's going to get worse. We are just getting to the start of winter. Winter does not officially start until December 21st. I mean, we got these huge problems. Then we got Christmas to worry about, people gathering for Christmas. Then soon after that, I mean, colleges postponed it, I think, till the end of January for the most part. But then we've got to worry about that. So even if a vaccine comes in 2021, there's so much we have to worry about where it's going to get out of control. Our healthcare system could fall. There's a lot of fallout that could happen from this, which I'm really worried about. Um, I mean, America could be in a really, 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 really bad shape by the time a vaccine gets spread. Because I know they're working hard on the vaccines, but there's just too many Americans that are getting killed by COVID right now. And it's because people are not wearing damn masks. It's not that difficult. When you're indoors in places where COVID's just in the air and and it's, all over the place, you can't see it, you gotta be safe. You gotta be safe. The CDC was saying in any indoor location, I think, they made new regulations. You gotta wear a mask. You gotta wear a mask, you have to social distance, you can't clump together with people. I mean, it's simple stuff. It's simple things that we know about now for months and months and months, but people are just refusing to listen. I think a lot of people are selfish. I'm sure it's a lot of younger people saying, "Well, I'm young, so I'm not going to get affected by it that much," which probably won't be the case anyway because we don't even know about the after effects of COVID. You know, um, I know I'm ranting about this. I'm just so frustrated by how bad we're handling it. Like after how bad we've been handling it this whole time, we are slowing up and actually getting better. And then the second wave came and just it's definitely going to be a dark time in America's history. It's really hard for me to talk about because I know that this could have been prevented, a lot of it, if we just did what all the other countries in the world did. And we had a plan, a national plan. It's really hard to keep a straight face and be happy when you think about how many people, how many fellow Americans, are going to pass by the time COVID might not be a problem. It's really awful. It's really awful. We gotta move on. Um, uh, 49ers couldn't practice in Santa Clara County because of new regulations that banned contact sports for 3 weeks. As COVID's been getting worse and worse, we started to see the effects in sports like the NFL. The NFL got hit with a lot of COVID positive people lately. I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson, last year's MVP, got coronavirus. The Ravens had a huge outbreak, and the game that was supposed to be Thanksgiving Day ended up being the following Wednesday at like 2:40, I think. It's crazy. A lot of people in the NFL got COVID. Some star running backs like James Conner, Mark Ingram, Adam Thielen got it, Jonathan Taylor. A lot of star athletes in the NFL got it. So it's shaking up the NFL quite a bit. Trump pardoned Mike Flynn. He was it was 3 years after the ex-security advisor was charged with lying to the FBI, and he also pled guilty, which makes it even crazier that he got pardoned. It's very bad news because he's probably going to pardon a lot of people before he gets kicked out of the White House. I really hope Trump gets arrested. I mean, that can't be the example we have. I mean, just for not, knowing the consequences of COVID and not acting on it, I think that should be a criminal offense. And I think that he should be sentenced for all the people that died because that's his fault. Not 100%, obviously. People didn't, take precautions and stuff, but he was our leader and he didn't. He was telling people not to worry about it, to go out, restore businesses, all this shit that was not good advice. And the Bob Woodward's tapes prove that he knew the dangers of it. He wasn't just and obviously he knew the dangers of it when he's getting a freaking presidential briefing every day telling him how bad it is. So he knew how bad it was, and he screwed over the American people. And now we've lost. We're gonna lose probably 300,000 Americans to COVID by the end of the year. Some pardons that Trump is probably going to do is his children, they say, and his personal lawyer Giuliani. And I wonder why. It's not like they're criminals or anything, you know. One of the best soccer players to exist. This article said Argentine soccer legend Diego Maradona died at 6 years old. The NRA reported spending by former and current executives for personal benefit. The Trump administration denied a key permit for a massive copper gold mine in Alaska. That was shocking in a good way for once. Um, the Supreme Court found, a New York religious, or sorry, yeah, the New York religious groups were legally targeted by New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo. So coronavirus restrictions. The decision was 5-4, and I personally don't agree with the decision because I saw there was I forget which religious group it was, but there was this religious, I think, ceremony. I think it was like a marriage, and there was like 7,000 people without masks. It was really bad. And I don't think that it does. I mean, obviously, I don't know everything about, New York's coronavirus restrictions, but I was trying to keep up with it somewhat, and it didn't seem like it legally targeted coronavirus restrictions. I saw the Supreme Court was divided on it. Um, so yeah, I don't know, but that's what the Supreme Court ruled. So I thought that Cuomo was just trying to do his best to bring COVID levels down. Um, a federal judge reinstated DACA. A government study found that something called Havana syndrome, brain injuries linked by U.S. diplomats, were likely caused by microwave energy. Yeah, okay. This came out today, and I didn't hear much about it in the news today. I get notifications about different what am I trying to say, news networks, and I saw this, and I didn't even see it get reported a whole lot. Like, that's crazy. I probably covered it in a previous video, but I did read something about people that came from Cuba, I think, like diplomats, like they said that something was wrong or whatever, but they didn't know. But this study found that, I'm pretty sure it's Cuba because it's called Havana syndrome, that diplomats coming from that area suffer brain injuries from microwave energy. Like, what? How is that not a huge story? Like, that's insane. And if that's coming out of a certain country, we need to take crucial steps. I mean, they're attacking diplomats. That is utterly wrong, obviously. And I think we need to take action against whoever has done that. So that was big news. That I was surprised it didn't seem to be covered that much when I saw it. The House of Representatives voted to decriminalize marijuana for the first time ever. That was a big deal. The movie theaters may not have a chance of coming back. I know that, they were trying to be safe with people and everything and trying to put measures in, but it was kind of a losing battle. I did see that they got a lot of money, I think, I think they got like $850 million to movie theaters to try and stay open. But HBO may have killed them because they said that they're going to release all the new movies, stuff like Wonder Woman, and they got a lot of big movies, I think, coming out. And they're releasing them simultaneously in theaters and HBO Max. And I think it's a good decision because movie theaters, if they release all these big movies, there's going to be a lot of people in movie theaters, and that's not good. So they're saying you can also get HBO Max and watch the movies on there. But when this COVID stuff's all over, I feel like it's going to be very hard for people to be like, oh, so we're going to go from watching brand new movies on our couch to going out in a movie theater and paying a ton of money to see it. We'll be saving a lot of money by watching it on the streaming network. And, and people are probably still going to be weary even after COVID's gone. So movie theaters aren't looking too good, but I really love movie theaters. So that sucks. And I hope they can recover, but it's going to be a really tough battle. I mean, the only thing worse than movie theaters right now are like cruise ships. You know, it's just not good. A top nuclear scientist was assassinated outside Tehran in Iran and was killed by, I think, a drone with a machine gun that was like remotely operated. It's pretty crazy. Trump called Georgia's governor to pressure him to try and overturn the state's outcome, like try and flip the state red by convincing the governor to change that. It's like it's unbelievable. I mean, that's a freaking lawsuit right there. The president of the United States calling a governor to change the outcome of a state when the election's been certified there. I'm pretty sure because they did the recount, and I'm pretty sure the election's already been certified. And they're saying the Democrats or Joe Biden won. Like it's that should not be allowed, but this guy's getting away with a lot. So what I hope is that as soon as Trump, January 20th, 2021, which is like a month and a half away, Joe Biden's gonna walk in. Trump's gonna probably get dragged out, and I hope that soon after Trump gets dragged out, I hope they arrest his. I hope they arrest him, like just the rest of his life, just sitting in his jail cell for all the crimes he's done. And then maybe this country could heal. I mean, that'll cause some division, but he's been talking about a possible 2024 run, and we don't need that. I'd rather him be in jail. So hopefully that's what happens. We'll just have to wait and see after he leaves office, but that'd be pretty nice. This is a pretty crazy statistic that a lot of people won't be surprised by. Only 25 out of 249 congressional Republicans acknowledge Biden's win over Trump. So, about 10% of Republicans in the House and Senate have said that our democracy, our 2020 election, was actually accurate. Like 10% have said, yep, the election happened in November. We counted all the votes. We waited 4 days, which is a pretty long time, for them to make sure the votes were being counted. Only 10% of Republicans in the Senate and the House have said, yep, Joe Biden won and Donald Trump lost. Pretty pathetic. Pretty pathetic. You can't defend them at all. Senate Republicans shot down a long shot effort to challenge the Electoral College. I was surprised that was even news. Like, how are you going to, they're going to challenge, like they were going to challenge the Electoral College. When the Democrats won the popular vote by like 2.5 million votes and lost the Electoral College, they didn't challenge. But the Republicans who got their ASSs whipped, and Joe Biden won the popular vote by over 6 million votes, and he clearly won the Electoral College, like not by one state, but by many. Like that, I couldn't believe that was even news, but it is. Employers only added 245,000 jobs in November, which sounds like a lot, but it was way lower than expectations, and it's due to the coronavirus resurge. So, to the people that thought that Donald Trump would actually be good for our economy, there you go. It's actually ironic that because he focused on opening up the economy and not worrying about COVID, because he's an idiot and he didn't think it through, that it actually, not containing the virus hurts businesses, and that's why businesses have been hurt so much. And then he didn't take any precaution about the second wave, so the second wave's come in and wrecked America again, and now people are suffering and the economy is suffering because of him. So, yeah, not good stuff. I want to give a shout out to Bill Nye because he's a freaking genius. If people are my age, Bill Nye. Like we watched his videos in school. It's a pretty creative way to teach people things, and he's been speaking out about why you need to wear masks and on social media, and it's actually really really well done. Um, Excuse me. And this was a bit older stuff that I should have covered earlier. There's been huge vaccine progress. Moderna vaccine is found to be 95% effective. Pfizer and BioNTech seeks authorization. I think they got it. COVID-19 vaccine, their vaccine is 95% effective too. It showed signs of being safe. So I think right now they're just finalizing the safety aspects, making sure it's safe, and then they're going to start distributing it. So that's why the people were saying like spring 2021 was probably good estimate of when it'll be widely available. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Well, that was a lot. So if you did stay for the whole video, I really appreciate it. If you did like the video, please give the video a like. Think about subscribing. Comment what you thought about the video. I appreciate you guys. If any of you guys watched it all the way through or watched parts of the video, I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and that you stay safe. Peace.